Ultrabooks are one of the best laptops that money can buy if you want to get something like a flagship laptop. Whether you want to have some class and luxury, or even if you want to have something that is more dedicated for office work, or especially if you want to go VIP. So nowadays in 2022, you can get a laptop like this one, the Asus Zenbook S UX391U, that is priced at just 30k of a budget. But for this kind of review, is this laptop worth it, and especially how does it perform in 2022? Now let's talk about this laptop for a bit. Released back in 2018, the Zenbook S UX391U is one of the most thinner and the best looking laptop that Asus offers. And what you can expect about the S series, it is a more slimmed down version as what you can expect that this laptop has died on it. But meaning to say when it comes to its build though, this one has military 810G standard. And what's really great about it is that this laptop really has that aluminum build quality on its chassis. The port selection with the hub connector that you can actually use full-size ports, but the 3 USB Type-Cs, combo audio jack, and status LEDs is what you have in this kind of laptop when it comes to ports. The good news comes with this laptop despite having Thunderbolt 3 ports on the right side. So you can use this one for charging different peripherals, especially for monitors, or even if you are a gamer who has an external GPU, this thing can actually be usable by the use of the USB Type-C. But now let's proceed on to the next trick that this laptop has. Despite being a really great design when it comes to its burgundy red color, another gold trim on this laptop that makes it really more catching to the eye. And that's not all. The ergonomics is really great about this laptop despite having that ergolift hinge that Asus designed. It gives more better airflow and it gives more better comfortable state for some people who uses their laptop for an 8-hour long work. This thing has a 1080p IPS display with nano edge. It adds more better real estate when it comes to watching movies or doing some content creation work. The IPS display has a 320 nit brightness for the 1080p, but it's not really great when it comes to using this laptop under the sun. Despite of its reflective display, it really adds more flavor if you want to have a matte display on this thing, but there's even more. You can go with the 4K option, but it actually depletes more battery life despite of its display, and if you don't want that 4K display, 1080p will be the best sweet spot, and it saves more battery life when it comes to this kind of Ultrabook. While on the keyboard though, this thing is really great when it comes to its typing speed. With a short amount of travel, this thing can be usable especially for a long typing session. Since this one has a gold look to it, you have some brightness controls up to 3 levels. And there's another thing that this laptop really greets you gracefully, that this thing you're paying a premium. As the average Joe would say that this one is the price is very right. The touchpad is a glass touch trackpad that this one is really smooth and precise. Especially when it comes to gesture control, even for a 13.3-inch laptop, this thing tracks really gracefully, especially when doing some gesture controls. And the most important part of it, if you wanted to have some security, there's also a fingerprint scanner on the upper right corner of the touchpad that you can use to log in Windows instantly. So this is a sample video footage. As what you can see here, we are using a 720p webcam on this Asus Zenbook S. And we are going to do some typing on this one, which we are going to do it right now. So we are watching video or something. You can actually expect that the audio quality will actually overlap. And of course, if we try to pause the video and we are going to type like the quick brown fox, as what you can see here, it really interferes something like the most things when it comes to microphone quality. But let's try to turn this one off. Yes, my friends, you can see with poor lighting condition, this is what the camera looks like, and that is what you can expect depending on the brightness or better lighting on your environment, whether you're in school, at home, or even if you're camping. This is what the quality will look like. Now let's talk about the specification on this laptop. As what you can see on your screen, of course there are some different kinds of variants for this kind of model. For second hand that we have here is the only ones that is highlighted. As what you can notice here that this laptop is very much as what you can expect to be really okay when it comes to specification. And despite the Intel Core i7-8550U is a 4-core and 8-threaded processor that goes up to 4 GHz, this laptop really performs absolutely really well. Even though it is a ULV platform-based processor, we have tested Cinebench R15 5 times on different case scenario. On our performance test that the CPU is really outperforming the Intel Core i3-1005G1, as what we also have in this chart right here. So it kind of depends on what type of scenario you're going to use this laptop, whether you're charging without the battery, and of course with a cooling pad while charging will actually give a huge amount of difference. Where this one is really suitable for office work, some creation workloads that are lighter based like Adobe Premiere, Photoshop, or even AutoCAD 2D. You can do 3D AutoCAD, but it's not really enough for the 8 gigs of RAM to be beneficial, and you cannot also upgrade the laptop's memory, which we go on to gaming. The Intel UHD620 can be capable when it comes to doing some 4K video playback on YouTube or Netflix. The only thing that is not really good about it is when it comes to the gaming benchmark, Valorant really runs pretty well, but it's not really ideal from what it is. As what you can notice here when we're doing some shooting and also using the power-ups of Jet, you will expect to have some hiccups since we have toned down the settings to the lowest possible preset at 1080p, same as CSGO. It's quite playable, but I do actually lower the resolution to the native 768p for this kind of game to be playable. And especially you can see some hiccups here and there, but on our performance benchmark on the UHD 620, Intel Xe might be the best sweet spot, or even having dedicated graphics card, but since we have USB Type-C that is Thunderbolt, you don't have any kind of compromise if you're going to use the eGPU. But like I said earlier that the memory is soldered on board, if you're going to upgrade this laptop, removing the pentalobe screws underneath, and once we carefully pry it out, this is what it looks like. You can change the battery, upgrade the SSD to a 1TB PCIe, but the memory, CPU, and also the Wi-Fi card is on board. So there are some maintenance that really requires some specialty to it. Overall, this is what it really has to be when it comes to an Ultrabook. So if you want to get a higher variant, even for brand new ones, better get a little bit more premium in price, if you know what I mean. So in terms of temperatures, it kind of depends when it comes to its performance. Without the cooling pad, of course it goes to 100 degrees if this laptop is not really properly cooled on some environments depending on your room temperature. But you can see on this video right here is we have tested with the cooling pad under load, as you can actually notice that the CPU is really sitting well comfortably on full load. Meanwhile, on our benchmark result here on our chart, it really gives us a little bit of a thermal throttle. Despite having restriction of airflow underneath, this is what to be expected since Asus has this kind of ergolith hinge to add more airflow. It will actually generate air intake to the keyboard up to the fan itself, but you can use a cooling pad also to cool the laptop in terms of operating temperatures. Meanwhile, let's proceed on to the audio. So we didn't actually quite benchmark this thing because of course we don't have a recorder for this kind of laptop, but overall experience is that it is really quite okay for its performance in sound quality. Even though it is a 13.3-inch laptop, this is what you can actually expect for this laptop to have some features like the Harman Kardon with the ICE technology that Asus bundles with this kind of laptop. It is really overall pleasingly sounding, but the bass is not really quite super present in terms of that punchiness, but it is really quite there as what this laptop really is. So here is a sample short type of sound footage. But as we talk about the battery on the Asus Zenbook S UX391, this one is really good as well, which I do actually say that having the 1080p option would save a ton of power. But despite this laptop is already been used, this is what you can expect for its battery power that we have on this unit. Here's the conclusion part. Is this laptop really worth getting in 2022? And that is really a great question. Depending on what type of laptop you're going to get, whether from a productivity standpoint or something that is more office-based, whether online teachers, virtual assistant, or even some architect students might find this one really useful, it is a really great laptop. But there's more. Depending on what type of laptop you're going to be categorized with, this laptop right here, the Zenbook UX391, is in Ultrabook. So it's really thin and light, you can easily carry around without any kind of hassle. But if you are really more in terms of performing type of laptops like great for AutoCAD work or something else, this might be the best laptop, but it's not really that perfect for its purpose. Since it is a ULB CPU, you don't have any kind of performance benefit, and if you want to future upgrade this laptop, it doesn't actually give you that kind of potential to actually have a better suited memory for your needs. So there are some other videos that we have made when it comes to laptops like the Asus Top FX505DT and DY that has really great expandability, especially for its performance on the processor. But for this kind of laptop, it is a thin and light device that is really worth getting for 2022. So if you want to see more of this video, go hit the thumbs up button, sub, and tap on the notification bell. And this is Norms, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.